everyone. Thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Beast of Prey. Ayana Gray, she just released the title of the second book. I'm really hoping Fairy Loot does another paperback version, so that way I have a consistent series, because yes, I do plan on reading it. Why? Because it was good. I really enjoyed this novel, and first and foremost, let me just, who doesn't love a map? I love maps in my books. I really do. They just give me such a wonderful idea of this world that the author is building. So whenever there's a map, I'm just like, I'm here for it. I'm in love. I'm just like, let me follow these characters on their journey. So it makes it more engaging for me as a reader. To see a map in a story, because then I can really follow with the characters. That being said, I really did love Gray's storytelling. I think she's such an excellent storyteller because we have three characters. And first of all, the back blurb here, it only mentions Kofi and Ekon. E-K-O-N. And the funny part is, it starts with Idea. Yeah. And I think that's so great. It's just like, okay, first of all, the author, she's starting the story by not focusing on one of her main protagonists, but that doesn't mean she's any less important to the story. In fact, she is very important to the story. So the first opening line and the last opening line of this first chapter is just jaw-dropping, because you're just like, whoa, what just happened? And then all of a sudden part one starts and you're like, okay, where is this going to take place? What's going to happen? Your intrigue is piqued with this introduction of a separate character who's not mentioned on the Black Blurb. So there's some mystery there. Gray's really good at creating a lot of intrigue and a lot of mystery, because her story does go back and forth. And this is what I love about her writing style. Sorry, my allergies. What I love about her writing style is we have these three different perspectives. They're very different. Two of them take place in present day. Ideas is, as we soon discover, in the past. What I like is how the fluidity and the movement of the story doesn't break. Her pacing is so consistent that you're just lulled into reading it. Because, well, honestly, one of my biggest pet peeves is when authors go back and forth between past and present, and what they do is they're not fluid in it. It's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it's just kind of jarring, and it always tends to take me out of the story. Gray does a lot of showing and not telling, because she doesn't tell you. Idea's story takes place in the past. She alludes to it subtly. I can't talk today. With context. And that's what I love. That she's showing the reader and alluding to the fact that Idea's story is in the past. Because when I was reading it, I'm like, oh, her story takes place in the past. Super cool. And that's when I was reading Idea's story, because the language, the setting, just class structure, and how the society is working together. That's how she does it. She does it with her world building, and I think that that's so incredible, because it does showcase a proficiency with storytelling and world building. in order to lure the reader in. Again, the momentum, the pacing, that rising tension, it doesn't break. It's very fluid. So you really are lured into her narrative and her storytelling. And I think that that's ultimately incredible. Ultimately incredible. Because I love it. It's just something that I think back on even now. I'm just like, wow, how did she do that? You know, like, how did she become so good at her narrative and her world building and her structure? And of course, you know, practice. You know, if you keep doing something that you're passionate about, you'll get better, especially if you have the right feedback. So I'm sure she had a really good editor that she worked with to help her make this the best story possible. And it was so good. It worked as well. What I also really liked is how she alludes to she uses a lot of African culture in her storytelling. Let me start there. And I think that that's very good. Oftentimes, you know, unfortunately, and not just in Africa, but you have, in general, really, you have groups of people who are, you know, they have different belief systems, they have different background, different skin color, different practices, and usually that's fodder for hate, you know, or dislike, or one group of people will think they're significantly better than another group of people. So it's not just saying, oh, you know, it's true for Africa, right? No, it's all around the world, let's be real. But she's using African culture and different tribes, different groups of people, not tribes, sorry. Different groups of people. I just pulled it up. The Mongo people, Democratic Republic of Congo in Central Africa. She uses Mongo lore. She uses the Wolof people of Senegal and West Africa, Zulu lore. I mean, she uses, here we go. And this is her author's note, which I read. I really started reading these author's notes a lot, but she's using a lot of African culture, and I'll read this part to you because this is what I'm trying to say, but not eloquently enough. Sorry. The Yabas and Geeds are not real people. Those are the two groups in the book, but they do represent a small fraction of the diverse ethnic populations that often reside side by side throughout African countries and regions. Despite the fact that, to an outsider, many of these people look phenotypically the same, I totally mispronounced that word, I know. They often speak different languages, observe different religions and traditions, and sometimes don't even get along. It's very true. It's very true. So I like how she's using her culture and her roots and drawing inspiration from African lore to tell her story. And I think it's really, I thought, you know, it worked. It was very engaging. Especially because she's using like folk tales to build her world. And I love her world building. I think it's so spectacular. The Greater Jungle, the Shitani Beast. It's excellent. It really is excellent. I loved it ultimately. And I also love the characters. You know, I liked Adia. I wanted to know more of her story, and you do. And it shows how we got to point A, how the story begins. So her story is going. Literally, the beginning is the kind of the end of her story. So as you're reading her, you're like, okay, how did that happen? you know? And then when you're reading Kofi Ikon's story, you're just like, okay, what happened to make their world so significantly different than her world? What was this world breaking, this rapture that took magic from the world, you know? So you're intrigued. And I liked Kofi again and Ikon as characters because they're so different. They have a lot of different backgrounds, but I like how they put aside their differences to work together because they're trying to capture the Shitani. And as they're in the Greater Jungle, they discover that there's a lot they don't know, you know, and they come to respect each other. They become friends. They come to care about each other. And I like it. I particularly like Kofi because I think she's, you know, she's snarky, she's funny, I love her eye rolls. Sometimes it annoys me when authors do eye rolls, like, excessively, but it worked so well with Kofi's personality that you're just rolling your eyes with her when you're reading the story. She's like, sounds like a lot of work. You can just hear her voice in her head. She has so much life and personality to her that makes it incredibly wonderful. I think she's honestly spectacular as a character. I think she's great. And what I love too about her is Ikon, he has a lot of nervous tics. He likes to count to 3 a lot. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, I kind of do that too. When I get like really nervous, I do the same thing that he does. You know, I do tap my fingers against myself. Usually I count to 4. And so I got it. I got where he was coming from as a character. People tend to overlook his brilliance in favor of his nervous tics, except for Kofi. He's like, sorry. She's like, why are you apologizing? Like, that's just part of who you are. You have nothing to apologize for. She doesn't even think twice about it. She's just like, okay, whatever. You have nervous tics, and I think that's really great about her character. So I love her. And I do love their development. They do have to reconcile a lot of who they are with a lot of what they know in the world, because it's like a, you know, bomb dropped for them in the Greater Jungle. They're like, what? And it was so good. It was a really good book. You know, it has really strong character development, excellent world building. It is a wonderful story, and I loved it so much, and I can't wait to read the sequel. So I have to give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. Not quite 5, but so close. So close. I just like to reserve my 5s for books that really just blow me away. So I'm kind of really, really picky with my 5s, but damn, this wasn't so damn close. So amazing. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommend it. Please purchase from your local bookseller or online book retailer. I just ask that you kind of support your bookstores or your independently owned bookstores versus Amazon. Because, you know, keep the bookstores alive. Woo, come on, bookstores. And also, Amazon gets way too much money as it is. Trust me. On that note, I hope you all continue to support me by liking this video and sharing it with all your book loving friends. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And on that note, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And as always, happy reading, everyone.